Welcome to our practical sessions on bread making. So today we are going to look at how to make bread. So we're going to make the dough. Then we will have another section on how to make bread rolls and shape them. Then flavoured breads. And then there'll be another section on how to make pizza. So as usual, make sure you have clean hands. It's very, very, very important when you're making bread because you're going to be kneading the bread, and so anything you have on your hands will go into the dough. So make sure you have clean hands, hair away so that it doesn't go into the food, and an apron on to protect the food from you. So in the mixing bowl, I have got 450 grams of strong plain flour. We are using strong plain flour because it has a higher gluten level. Gluten is the protein in the flour, and that helps to give the dough the elasticity to be able to stretch when the carbon dioxide is given off from the yeast. Yeast is a living organism, and when it multiplies, it gives off a gas called carbon dioxide. Now that process is called fermentation. So in the bowl we have our flour and our butter. Today I'm going to use fast action dried yeast. That comes in a packet with about 8 sachets in. So just cut off the top, and I'm going to sprinkle my yeast into my flour and rub in the butter into the flour. Now they should only take a few seconds because we've got a lot more flour than we have butter. Always when you're rubbing in, have your palms facing the ceiling, because if you rub in like that, you're actually pressing the dough together, the flour together. So we want to separate the flour but rub in the butter so that we can't see the butter. Okay, so in there, flour, butter and yeast. Now I'm going to put the salt in. We need salt because that's going to give it flavour, and it is also going to help to strengthen the gluten. Now we're putting 1.5 teaspoonfuls of salt in, and I'm also going to put 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now that sugar is going to feed the yeast. So mix that up. Now, as I was saying with the salt helps to strengthen the gluten so that it will help the dough to stretch. So once we've got that all mixed up, we come to our water. Now the water needs to be at a tepid temperature. So between 35 and 37 degrees. Now 37 degrees is our body temperature. So one of the easiest ways of checking is with your clean finger. Well, mine's only been in the flour. I'm going to put my little finger in the water. Now I couldn't feel the water. It was exactly the same temperature as my finger. It wasn't hot, it wasn't colder. So I'm then going to pour the water in. I'm going to leave a little bit of water out because depending on the quality of your flour, it may absorb more water, it may absorb less. If you're using wholemeal flour, it will take more water. I'm just going to take the rest of that water in and mix all that together. So we need to have strong arms doing this because we're going to beat until that dough starts to come away from the side of the bowl. So this is where we find out who's got muscles. Now that dough has started to come away from the side of the bowl. And that's beaten. So probably about 2 minutes. Then we have already cleaned our work surfaces. Sprinkle the work surface with some flour. Put your dough on the work surface. Then we're going to knead. So kneading is K-N-E-A-D. And kneading is where we're stretching and strengthening the gluten. So if we stretch out the dough, fold it over, what was on the floury side is now on the top, so your hands won't get sticky. Using the heel of your hand, push it out, fold it over, push it out. So stretch, fold, push it out. And you are going to do this for a good 10 minutes. And you will feel the texture of your dough.